What's going on? So Gary Payton came out and said that if the Sonics hadn't traded Scottie Pippen and they'd have kept Scottie in '87 and Sean Kemp, and then he later said Deadly Shrimp, they would have won multiple titles had they kept the formula together. My reaction is, I noticed that this Scottie Pippen affair is so interesting. People almost forget that you grew up watching it. It took him a while to become that Scottie Pippen. It took him 4 years to be exact. His style came in because of who he played with. Obviously, with Tex Winter's offense and Phil Jackson as a coach and defenses and the way they schemed and him and Jordan. You have to play alongside of talent that complements what you do. I never saw Scottie Pippen play with another offense that complemented what he did. Without Jordan in Chicago, it wasn't the same. When Houston, he was too old. He went to Portland, he had a chance, but he couldn't finish it up, and then it deteriorated. He never had that because he had Jordan around him, but he also had people that complemented the system. Gary Payton and Sean Kemp were formidable for a while, but they were more precursor to Chris Paul and Blake Griffin than they were to Stockton and Malone. So I don't know where he's talking about they've been formidable, because you got to get points, you got to score, you got to do different things. The thing is that as good as Pippen was with his versatility, he was an offensive juggernaut. Who was going to be an offensive juggernaut amongst those guys? And Gary could score, and Kemp did to an extent, but they weren't an offensive juggernaut. So I'm thinking that you talking all this talk about out west, but who were you going to beat better than? You weren't going to be better than Portland at that time. You weren't going to be better than Phoenix at that time. Maybe you catch the Lakers post Magic. Were you going to be better than Utah? Because you got to think about this situation. And you're up here saying that you could have been. We don't know what you could have been. You're talking about in a sense that based on what happened with everything along the lines. But in the meantime, it doesn't mean that it would have necessarily gone that way. They could sit there and say, well, if we kept, but how do you know Scottie Pippen would have turned out how he would have turned out with you? She was motivated because you play defense, but does that mean it would have worked with what you had? See, and I watched Gary Payton play, and he was better with a dominant low post presence. Played with Shaquille O'Neal.